On balance, I think this form of government is the best form of government in that each person in the city of Montgomery is closely represented by his or her council person, and that they feel that they have a closer voice in city government and feel that they are not left out of the affairs of the city. Therefore, I think on balance, this is the best form of government.
I love it. For one thing, we took city government out of City Hall and gave it to the people. We're much closer to the people all the way around. You have the district representative, and he should know his people, and I think we do know our people, and we can relate to the power structure much easier than individuals can. It's going to work.
I like the form of government. I think it's a form of government that the people are represented more closely. You have 9 councilmen. I think each councilman is closer to his people in his district than it would be someone on the other side of town. So I think that actually the councilman in his district or her district is closer to the people and can represent them better than somebody maybe on the other side of town.
Without a reservation. It's the finest thing that we've done in many, many years in Montgomery.
Basically, what led to the need for a change of this form of government?
Well, when I got here as a chief elected official, as mayor, I found a system that just wasn't responsive to the needs of the people. I found 3 people who had equal legislative and executive authority. And it just left the 3 commissioners to criticize one another and pass the buck. The buck stops here now in the mayor's office so far as implementation is concerned. We have a clear division now of the legislative function and the executive function, and that brings on good government.
The people were fed up with not being able to be represented in government, in my opinion, and the people felt that with a form of government change to a mayor-council form of government, that they would have direct, close personal contact with a representative or council person in city government. And that's the strength of this council, is council members such as these and the other 6 members are close to their people, and I think this is what the people of the city of Montgomery were looking forward to when they voted for the change.
Councilman Oliver, I know you can't speak for every black, as Mr. Farmer could not speak for every white, but from what you've seen so far of this type of government, do the blacks feel better represented?
Much better. And I can say it emphatically so. They feel that they're part of the city of Montgomery now because they go through their council people. Say, for instance, myself, I've been from a preacher to a counseling person to those people, and they think that I'm a Lord, mighty God, you know, in this respect. I don't want to be braggadocious, but it's just like it is, you know. So I've been trying to serve them. I've been trying to acquaint them and educate them, and they love this form of government. If you go to any other form of government, you're going to have mutiny. I said that word was before, somewhere along the line.
Gentlemen, I'd like to ask all 3 of you the same question. You have a year's experience. There have been some good and some bad times in that first year. What would you point to as the benchmarks of your first year? Mr. Golson, we'll start with you. What are the highlights of your first year on the council?
Well, as I've already said, I believe in the statement before that the communications between me and the people in my district and the people in the city of Montgomery, the people feel like that they are represented at City Hall. Therefore, they feel a part of Montgomery, and they feel like that their effort is not in vain when they've got somebody representing them as close as I believe all the council people do.
Mr. Palmer?
I would say that the council form of government, as Mr. Golson and Mr. Oliver and all of us have already said, brings the people closer to the government, which is good because now then the administrative side of the house, Mayor Robinson and all of the city employees get a better feel of the problems as the individual constituents or citizens of the city of Montgomery see them, because they are told to them by the council members. The council members hear a complaint, hear a grievance, hear a problem as such, or see a problem, then we are able to present it to the administration and I would say this, that Mayor Robinson and the city employees, the fine city employees we have been very responsive to the council because they know we're speaking for the people and bringing legitimate complaints and grievances and problems to their attention. And I would say this is the milestone of this first year, is the ability to get things done, problems that have accumulated over the years, and things that need to be brought to the attention of the various departments are now brought early, timely, and forcefully to the department heads through the mayor's office, and we're getting results.
Mr. Oliver?
Yes, if you want to speak by district, I'm ready to go there. It's three things that I'm very proud of in District 5 that we initiated. We went over great. Number one, we organized our district early into 4 sections, so we are on track there. Number two, we had a town hall meeting, which was great. Mr. President was there, and of course we acquainted the people, educated them to this form of city government. And number three was the idea of brainstorm of cleaning up District 5. As a result, this spread all over the city of Montgomery, and I'm very proud, and District 5 is very proud of it.
I think the best point is that that every segment of our community is represented. The fat people, the tall people, the short people, the rich, the poor, the black, the white, the businessman, the large businessman, the small, everybody has their say-so. The paramedic program came along, the people were heard. I think the young people are being heard. I think that the socioeconomic groups were heard concerning the transportation system. All of these things have tended to make us a better community. And as long as government is done in that open light and with that kind of input from the citizens, you're not ever going to have the thing covered up and not responsive to the people's needs. It is responsive and can be more responsive.
Is there a weak point so far as you see the form, personalities aside?
No, well, I think if there is a weakness in the form, it has not yet shown itself. I think that off in the future, and I hate to predict what might happen in the future, but if there is a weakness, I think that if the council people ever lower their sights and are unable to raise themselves above their district on occasion to go for the general good of the city, we'd have a problem with it. I think if we would have formed cliques of various groups against other groups, districts, so I'm looking out for my district and don't worry about anything else, I think that would be a problem. But you see, that can be solved by the quality and the kind and types of people that we have elected to the council. And I think we have a good council this first time around. The success of it is going to be directly related to the interest and the voting of the people of this community the next time we all stand for election.
Another question about the internal working, the relationship between the council and the mayor and the administrative branches of the city of Montgomery. How would you, if you could make a change in your relationship, what would you do to improve that relationship?
Well, at the moment, it's working so good that it frightens me. The mayor and I have a standing meeting every Monday morning of several hours of duration in which we go over the city's business for the agenda for the next night and any other problem that might be coming before the city. We talk 2 and 3 and 4 times a day by telephone. We have other meetings during the week. I am in constant touch with the members of the council, bringing their problems to the attention of the mayor, or they're bringing them themselves. But we have a relationship with the administration of this city, which I think is excellent, and we, except for communication problems or time lags or lack of money, I would have no complaint whatsoever on the way that the council is treated, and their wishes are respected and their problems responded to.
Beginning with Mr. Oliver, I'd like to ask all three of you about taxes. Do you feel taxes are too high now, as far as city taxes are concerned, too low, just right? Are there some changes that need to be made?
I think they're just right now. We have a city that cannot compete with other cities with major industries. We cannot overtax ourselves because we're just a little city on the Alabama River, still sipping mint julep. We got to move out of that stage, so we cannot overtax ourselves at all. I think our taxes are fair. I think some of our people are overbearing and asking for too many raises, which we cannot give at this time. But as a whole, our tax structures are just right.
Mr. Palmer?
Well, the British economist Parkinson said that expenditures will always rise to meet whatever monies you have. So, in all seriousness, no matter how much taxes we were to lay on the backs of the people of Montgomery, we would have a good purpose with which to spend it, for which to spend it. Frankly, I think that we don't need any new taxes in Montgomery right now. And basically, I would be opposed to any new taxes at this time because I think we, like the families in the city of Montgomery, just have to learn to get along with what we have and tighten our belts and do the best job we can with what we have.
Mr. Golson?
Frankly, I think the tax system we have now is good, and I think we have enough of taxes. I think if this council, the mayor, the administrative part of the city government will tighten our belts and use this money efficiently, I think we'll have efficient city government, an efficient city. I think our city will go forward. I think there'll be progress in the city of Montgomery with the money we got.
The council does have the total control of the finances of the city right now. So it's not a question of who has the power. The council has the power. We wrote the law. Those of us who participated in the suggestions for it, of course, the legislature wrote the law. I didn't write the law. We had some suggestions and input, but we suggested that the council have the total power for it, and they do. And we get our budget together with our department heads and discuss it in depth. We bring the council people in even at that time and allow them to share in that discussion. We have some good, hard discussions. It then becomes the mayor's budget from the department heads. Then I take it and I go over it again with the department heads. Then I take it to the council, and I submit it to the council for them to consider. They consider it. And they ask us hard questions in public, as they properly should. And I tell you, tough. And they ought to be tough. And I'm glad they're tough. And I hope they're always tough. And I hope they get tougher, because that's going to give us some good government. But then it becomes the council's budget. Then the council votes, and it becomes the city's budget. Now, once it becomes the city's budget by majority vote of the council cannot change the budget at all without the agreement of the administrative branch. The agreement, in fact, an agreement of the mayor. That's to keep the council from funding a project and somebody getting hot at the mayor maybe and saying, well, he's got that started, we'll just withdraw the money, and you let the contract. You can't have that. You set the budget, and it's got to be for a year, and that's the way it is. So it's not I don't foresee any problem with wrestling for power of control of the budget, because the council already has it. Properly should have it.
I realize that this form of government has only had a year to get on its feet, but around the country, the latest move has been to a metropolitan or consolidated government of city and county. It may be too soon to discuss the feasibility of going to it yet, but do you see a future in it? Mr. Oliver, do you see a future in it?
Yes.
Why?
Montgomery is really ripe for it, because after all, Montgomery, without Montgomery County, Montgomery City, you just have a barren county, country place. So why not consolidate the county and city and cut out duplications, which you do have? You can put it all in one area and get it over with and done with.
Mr. Palmer, do you agree?
Well, there are many areas of the metro government which are already merged. The library system, the school system, the tax collection agencies and so forth are already merged into one form of one agency. There are problems in going to metro government. If we were to all of a sudden become one metro government, the dealing with police protection, fire protection, sanitary sewer, garbage collection, all of these problems which sound easy on paper, but in reality are quite complicated. This council is authorized to study in conjunction with the county commission some 6 or 8 months ago, and this committee that has been formed has been actively studying the problems that are involved with this and are reporting periodically to us, and it possibly is a viable solution to some of the problems we have, but it takes a lot of study.
It's several years down the road at least.
I would think so.
Mr. Golson, anything to add on this consolidation?
I don't think there's anything to add, but we do have a committee working on the county-city consolidation, and I've got mixed emotions about it because we take the county and city and consolidate them. We got people 15, 20 miles down the road going to want the same services we got here in the city of Montgomery. It's going to cost money, considerable money. And your water, sewer, and so forth, police protection, your fire protection, and so forth. So I can see some maybe minor problem, but I can see problems.
Do you see this as the form of government that, if we have consolidation, should be used?
There's no question about it. If consolidation comes, this is the only form of government, in my judgment, that would be responsive to the people throughout the community. The next best form of government to this, in my judgment, is the council manager. And I am opposed to the council manager form of government on principle, because the manager does not stand for election before the people, and he gets an inordinate amount of power over the purse strings of the city and the delivery of goods and services, and he's outside the reach of the people at the polls, and that's wrong. So yes, this is a form of government that would best serve consolidation. It's a simple matter of just expanding this form of government to encompass that form of government. Now, let me make one further statement. The city of Montgomery, and this form of government, is not, we by far not fully installed. We're not nearly generating the kind of savings that we can generate. We've made tremendous progress. We can do better. This form of government will allow us to do better. We're still fledgling, so to speak, and I am personally opposed to the imposition of any kind of additional burden on this young form of government that we're trying to get started here at this particular time. The proper thing for consolidation is, like I said in the past, study it. There are some terribly deep, hard questions that ought to be answered. I think that a shallow political approach with a cosmetic look to it, which is just under the surface, is a wrong approach to take to consolidation. There are several hundred, in fact thousands of employees that are to be considered. What effect is it going to have upon them? What do you tell them in the beginning? Where are they going to fit into the picture? When will this city be expected to provide trash pickup to Raymer, or to you see, from the city of Montgomery to the county lines, about 25 miles or more. If you're going to provide services, when are you going to provide them? If you're going to, how much is it going to cost? How are you going to raise the money? How do you expand your tax base? Will you need to raise taxes? If so, how much? Where should it come from? These are hard questions that cannot be answered easily without dedicated people like we have on the study committee. We have a fine group of people doing it. I think that should be continued. I think it should be supported by the city and by the county and furthered. That's the proper approach. I would be opposed to any kind of a hasty political cosmetic action that would drape that proposition on top of this young government. And I would fight it actively if it were to come out within a few months. I don't see any reason for us to get into that quickly. Maybe the answer down the road, but there's a lot of study that needs to be done yet.
Is there a place for partisanship, for politics on the council?
Should not be, at all.
Should there be a party division?
No.
Running for office? Mr. President, how about you?
I would think that this is, the City Council of Montgomery should be nonpartisan as far as political parties are concerned. I see no need for it and nothing to be gained by it. I think it would just be hardening of the lines and divisive in the city. And at the moment, we can have our differences on the council and differences of philosophies of government and everything like that, but we still vote as individuals. We don't have a party line. We don't have to respond knee-jerk to a certain slogan or to a certain thing. And I think that the strength of this council is the individual thinking of each of its members.
Mr. Golson?
I think it's a good question. I haven't given much thought to the party system getting into the council of city, the council members, but you know, I don't worry too much about the party. I worry about the people I'm representing, the people of the city of Montgomery.
Do you think in the first year the council, because it is the new area in this form of government, is functioning the way it should?
Oh, yes. They're flapping their wings, you know, and learning how to fly with the new form of government. But I tell you, they learn very quickly. They are very demanding in their quest for information of the administrative branch of government. And I think that's proper. It makes us do our homework, and it forces us to do the things we should do prior to the meeting. You get prepared for it. And sharing of information and the wide distribution of it, again, brings on good government. I can tell you now that if the council were to take off on a tangent, I'd be the first one to stand up and let them have it. But I know very well that if the mayor were to take off on a tangent, the council would stand up and take off after him. We have that division, yet there's a closeness and a respect for each branch of the government that keeps us together and keeps us working together. We're not adversaries. We are together in running this government. So no matter how wise you all think you are, you're not as wise as everybody put together. So I think it's working very well. As I said, they're very, very interested in seeking information, wanting to know more about the city government, wanting to know more about the operations. Some have different interests, and we spend a lot of time getting ready to answer those questions. I can tell you this, when we go down there, we try our very best to be ready. It's helped our department heads to understand more fully that they've got to be prepared to justify the actions they're taking. It would be very easy for people to spend money and to come up with programs without doing their legwork and homework. And I know very well that if my staff people are going to be down before the council representing me, that they best be prepared, and they know it. So it helps all of us to be stronger when we go down.
Does Montgomery want to be a big city?
Yes, now that they do. In back years, and I can say it emphatically so, we had certain groups of people, which I will not call a name, want to keep Montgomery down to their size where they could be the old Lord, mighty God of the city. But as of now, I think we have a new breed coming in. You might as well face it, Montgomery is changing. And when I said mint julep, it was also sitting under a magnolia tree, which they're not doing anymore. Montgomery's going to be on the move all the way through. And it's going to be on the move because this council itself, and I'm being braggadocious about the council now, we're going to see to it being that way. We're going to work together in a manner that we can make Montgomery a non-mint julep type city. We're going to try to get industries in here, East Montgomery as well as West Montgomery, North Montgomery as well as South Montgomery. We're going to take the toll thing. I've talked to the president, I've talked to the mayor of the city, and I've talked to some people at the Chamber of Commerce. We're going to change this city.
Growth, in my opinion, for growth's sake, uncontrolled growth, is bad. All we have to do is look at large metropolitan areas today throughout this country and see that they've created more problems than they've solved. Now, planned growth, steady growth, and growth that makes sense, that helps everybody along the way, that's fine. But to just go get a big industry and stick it up and create smokestacks and hazards and so forth just to say we've got an industry doesn't impress me at all. With planned growth and solid growth with solid tax foundation when we bring an industry in and non-pollution problems and so forth, that type of growth appeals to me. But I don't want to be a Gary, Indiana. No way.